The Awakening. The vastness of space stretched before Captain Alina Reyes as she stood on the observation deck of the UEA's Endeavour. Humanity's most advanced deep space exploration vessel glided silently through the uncharted reaches of the Cygnus Arm, its massive engines barely a whisper against the canvas of stars. 20 years of service in the United Earth Fleet had hardened Alina, but it hadn't diminished her wonder at the universe's majesty. "Captain, you should see this." Commander Akira Tanaka's voice broke through her contemplation. The ship's science officer rarely sounded alarmed, which instantly put Alina on alert. She followed him to the sensor array where a holographic display showed an anomalous reading. "What am I looking at, Commander?" "Something impossible." Akira's fingers danced across the interface, enlarging the image. "We've detected a structure at coordinates 347 Mark 82. It's massive, approximately 30 kilometers in diameter. And it's not natural." Alina studied the readings. "Artificial." "Are you certain?" "The symmetry is undeniable." "And Captain?" Akira hesitated. "It's broadcasting." The bridge fell silent. In nearly a century of space exploration, humanity had found plenty of evidence that life existed beyond Earth. Microbes on Mars, primitive aquatic creatures beneath Europa's ice, even fossils of long-extinct species on distant worlds. But intelligent, technologically advanced civilizations, those had remained frustratingly elusive. Until now. "What kind of broadcast?" Alina asked. "Unknown. The pattern repeats every 42 seconds. It doesn't match any language or code we've encountered." Alina straightened her uniform. "Alert all departments. I want a full analysis team assembled in 1 hour. And Akira," she added, "let's keep this quiet for now. No transmissions back to Earth until we know what we're dealing with." The structure loomed larger as the Endeavour approached, a massive ring composed of an unfamiliar black material that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. Within the ring, a complex network of smaller structures floated in perfect geometric patterns. "It's a gateway," Dr. Sophia Chen, the ship's xenologist, whispered in awe as the away team's shuttle approached. "And judging by the dust accumulation and stellar drift calculations, it's been here for at least 50,000 years." The team landed on a docking platform that illuminated as they approached. Alina led the group through what appeared to be an airlock, their environmental suits allowing them to breathe in the thin, stale atmosphere. "The architecture responds to our presence," Sophia noted as dormant consoles began to glow with a soft blue light. "It's analyzing us." Before Alina could respond, a hologram materialized before them, a swirling cloud of light that coalesced into a humanoid shape. "Welcome, explorers," it spoke in perfect English, shocking the team. "You have been expected." "Who are you?" Alina managed to ask. "I am an echo, a warning left by those who came before. The Forerunners built this gateway as a beacon for species like yours, those with the potential to join the galactic community." The hologram's expression darkened. "And to warn of the shroud." The hologram shifted, showing images of worlds being consumed by darkness, of civilizations falling one by one. "The shroud are not a species, but a consciousness that spreads like a plague. They seek minds to control, bodies to inhabit. For millennia, they have moved across the galaxy, consuming all sentient life they encounter." "Why are you telling us this?" Alina asked. "Because you might be different. The Forerunners detected something unique in Earth species, a resistance to certain forms of mental manipulation. This characteristic, properly developed, could be the key to stopping the shroud." A shudder ran through the station. The hologram flickered. "They have sensed the activation of this beacon. The shroud are coming. You must prepare." The hologram reached out, placing its luminous hand on a console. "Take this knowledge. It contains everything the Forerunners knew about the shroud, including their weaknesses." A data crystal emerged from the console. "Go. Warn your people. The survival of all free consciousness in this galaxy may depend on humanity's unique gift." As they rushed back to their shuttle, the gateway began to pulse with energy. The team barely made it back to the Endeavour before a massive surge of dark energy erupted from the center of the ring. The ship's sensors detected hundreds of objects materializing in the space around them. Angular, obsidian vessels that seemed to absorb all light. "Maximum thrust," Elena ordered. "Get us back to Earth. Now." The Endeavour's engines roared to life, propelling the ship into hyperspace just as the first energy weapons from the Shroud fleet lanced through the space they had occupied seconds before. But they were not fast enough. The Shroud, having detected the human presence, had already dispatched other vessels. As the Endeavour raced toward Earth, reports began flooding in from the outer colonies. Brutal, swift attacks. Entire populations going silent. And worse, colonists turning against each other, their minds no longer their own. By the time the Endeavour reached Earth, 3 outer colonies had fallen. The data crystal from the gateway proved invaluable, containing detailed information about the Shroud's biology, technology, and tactics. Most importantly, it confirmed the hologram's claim. Human brains possessed a unique neural structure that made them resistant, though not immune, to the Shroud's control. General Ibrahim Chen, head of Earth's Unified Defense Forces, assembled a crisis team at the Underwater Command Center beneath New Singapore. Elena stood before the gathered military and scientific leaders, her voice steady despite the weight of her message. "The Shroud aren't just conquering our colonies, they're harvesting them. Each person they control becomes an extension of their hive mind, and they're learning, adapting to our defenses with every encounter." Dr. Sophia Chen stepped forward. "But there's hope. The Forerunner's data contains specifications for a technology that could disrupt the Shroud's telepathic network. If we can build it and deploy it strategically, we might be able to create safe zones, places where they can't exert their influence." "How long?" General Chen asked. "With global resources diverted to the project." 3 months, Sophia replied. "The Shroud will reach Earth in 2, Elena countered grimly. The room fell silent. Then, a voice spoke from the back. Dr. Marcus Okafor, Earth's leading quantum physicist, stepped forward. "Maybe not. The Forerunner's technology operates on principles we've only theorized. But I've been working on something similar, a quantum field disruptor. It's not as sophisticated as what they designed, but we could have a prototype in 3 weeks." "Will it work?" General Chen asked. Marcus met his gaze. "It has to." As humanity prepared for war, the Shroud continued their advance. Mars fell within a month, its domed cities becoming breeding grounds for the controlled humans who now served as vessels for the Shroud consciousness. The lunar bases followed soon after, their defense systems turned against Earth by the very soldiers who once operated them. But humanity was not defenseless. The quantum disruptors proved effective, creating safe zones where the Shroud's influence couldn't penetrate. As their ships approached Earth, they encountered a unified planet for perhaps the first time in human history. All nations, all militaries working as one against an existential threat. The first wave of attacks came as expected, massive bombardments aimed at disabling Earth's orbital defenses. What the Shroud didn't expect was resistance from their own controlled subjects. The neural disruptors, deployed strategically around the planet, created enough interference to allow some of the controlled humans to break free, if only momentarily. And that was all the time Elena and her strike team needed. While the Shroud focused on Earth's defenses, the Endeavour, now retrofitted with stealth technology reverse-engineered from the Forerunner's data, slipped past their blockade, heading for what intelligence identified as the Shroud's command vessel. As the massive ship loomed before them, Elena looked at her team, scientists, soldiers, and engineers who had volunteered for what might be a suicide mission. "Remember," she said, "we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for every mind in the galaxy that deserves to be free." With that, they launched their boarding pods toward the heart of the enemy, carrying with them humanity's most powerful weapon, defiance in the face of extinction. The Reckoning. The boarding pods punched through the outer hull of the Shroud's command vessel like mechanical parasites seeking a host. Inside the lead pod, Captain Alina Reyes checked her tactical display. 5 pods, 24 operatives, 1 mission. Deploy the neural disruptor at the heart of the Shroud mothership and sever the connection to their hive mind. Breach successful, Lieutenant Amara Osei reported. But we're getting strange readings. The interior, it's organic. As the pod doors hissed open, Alina understood what Amara meant. The corridors weren't constructed of metal or synthetic materials, but something that resembled living tissue. Dark, membranous walls pulsed with veins of luminescent blue energy. The air was thick with a sweet, coppery scent that made her stomach turn. Masks on, Alina ordered. We don't know what kind of contaminants might be present. The team moved through the ship's winding passages, encountering surprisingly little resistance. Only occasional patrols of controlled humans, their skin ashen, eyes glazed with a milky film, stood in their way. The neural disruptors they carried created a bubble of protection, temporarily freeing any controlled individuals who came within range. It's too easy, Commander Akira whispered as they reached a massive chamber at what appeared to be the ship's center. Where are their defenses? Dr. Sophia Chen studied her handheld scanner. I'm detecting massive energy signatures below us. Whatever controls this ship is down there. Or they're luring us in, Alina countered. Stay alert. They descended through a spiral passage, the organic walls closing in around them until they emerged into a vast spherical chamber. At its center floated what looked like a massive brain. If a brain could be 10 meters across and composed of churning, midnight blue matter shot through with arcs of electrical energy. That's it, Sophia breathed. The nexus of their hive mind. Before they could approach, the air shimmered, and a figure materialized before them. A human in appearance, but its movements were too fluid, too precise. Curious creatures, it spoke, its voice resonating from everywhere at once. We have consumed thousands of species, but none have resisted as you have. Alina stepped forward. We're not here to negotiate. You invaded our territory, attacked our people. Territory. The figure tilted its head. Such a primitive concept. All consciousness belongs to the collective. We simply reclaim it. By force, Alina spat. By liberation. The figure smiled. Your kind suffers from the illusion of individuality, the pain of isolation. We offer unity. We call it freedom, Alina countered, and we'll die before we surrender it. The figure's smile faded. Many already have. With a gesture, the walls of the chamber transformed, becoming transparent. Beyond them, Alina could see thousands, perhaps millions, of suspension pods, each containing a humanoid form from various species. Your colonies were merely the beginning, the figure continued. We have harvested consciousness across half this galaxy. Those minds now serve the collective. And what happens to those who resist? Akira demanded. They are studied. Your neural structure is unique. It resists our influence more effectively than any species we've encountered. This makes you valuable. We will understand this trait, replicate it, perfect our methods. You mean eradicate what makes us human, Alina said. We mean to evolve beyond your limitations. Alina had heard enough. She signaled to her team, who quietly spread out around the chamber's perimeter. The neural disruptor, disguised as standard equipment, was already being assembled by Sophia and her engineers. You think you know humanity because you've studied our biology. Alina kept the figure's attention focused on her. You've missed something essential about us. And what might that be? The figure asked, curious. We never fight harder than when we're cornered. At Alina's signal, the team activated their personal neural disruptors simultaneously. The effect was immediate. The figure contorted in pain, its form flickering as the Shroud consciousness struggled to maintain control of its avatar. Now, Alina shouted. Sophia activated the main disruptor, and a pulse of quantum energy exploded outward from the device. The brain-like structure at the chamber's center convulsed, tendrils of blue energy lashing out wildly. The figure collapsed to its knees. "What have you done?" it gasped. "Introduced a virus," Sophia explained, her voice clinical. "Not biological, informational. It's spreading through your network right now, disrupting the connections between your collective consciousness. The Forerunners left us more than warnings," Elena added. "They left us the blueprint for your destruction." The figure's form began to disintegrate. "You cannot destroy consciousness." "We're not destroying it," Elena corrected. "We're freeing it." Throughout the ship and across the Shroud fleet orbiting Earth, chaos erupted as the hive mind fragmented. The controlled began awakening, confused and disoriented, but themselves again. In the suspension pods visible beyond the chamber walls, beings of countless species began to stir. But victory came at a cost. The mothership's systems, dependent on the Shroud's consciousness, began to fail. Gravity fluctuated. Life support systems sputtered. "We need to evacuate," Akira urged. "And quickly." "Not without them." Elena gestured to the suspension pods. "Alert Earth. We need every available ship for rescue operations." As the team fought their way back to the surface, they encountered not resistance but confusion. The formerly controlled humans and aliens wandered the corridors, freed from the Shroud's influence, but trapped on a dying vessel. Earth responded with unprecedented unity. Every ship capable of spaceflight launched to assist in the evacuation. The Shroud vessels, now piloted by their freed crews, helped coordinate the massive operation. In the weeks that followed, as refugees were settled and diplomatic relations established with the newly freed species, humanity found itself in an unexpected position as the saviors of galactic consciousness. Species that had been under the Shroud's control for generations looked to Earth for leadership. Elena stood again in the underwater command center, this time addressing not just Earth's leaders, but representatives from 12 formerly subjugated species. "The Shroud believed that individuality was a weakness," she said. "That consciousness was meant to be collective, but they fundamentally misunderstood the nature of connection. True unity doesn't come from forced assimilation, but from the free choice to stand together." She activated a holographic display showing the remnants of the Shroud fleet. The ships were being repurposed, their technology studied and adapted. "We've detected pockets of the Shroud consciousness retreating to the outer reaches of the galaxy. They're weakened but not destroyed, which means our work is just beginning." General Chen stepped forward. "Captain Rice will command our first joint species exploration and defense fleet. Their mission: to establish an early warning network, contact other free species, and ensure the Shroud never threatens sentient life again." Dr. Sophia Chen joined them, holding a data crystal similar to the one they'd received from the Forerunner Gateway. "We've compiled everything we've learned about the Shroud, their technology, and the countermeasures we've developed. This knowledge belongs to all free species now." As the meeting concluded, Elena found herself back on the observation deck, staring out at the stars. Beyond Earth's atmosphere, ships from a dozen worlds now orbited peacefully, former enemies united by their shared experience. Commander Akira joined her. "The UES Defiance is ready for launch whenever you are, Captain. Crew assignments have been finalized, a mixture of humans and representatives from all allied species." "Is that what we're calling ourselves now?" Elena asked. "The Alliance?" Akira smiled. "Actually, the ambassadors have suggested a different name: the Silent Vanguard. Guardians of Free Consciousness." Elena nodded, approving of the symbolism. "It fits." "The Shroud thought they understood humanity," Akira reflected. "They saw our divisiveness, our conflicts, and assumed it made us weak." "Their biggest mistake," Elena agreed, "was not realizing that those very qualities, our stubborn individuality, our chaotic creativity, would be their undoing." As the newly christened Alliance flagship Defiance prepared for departure, Carrying representatives of species who until recently had never known freedom, Alina considered the journey ahead. The galaxy was vaster and more dangerous than humanity had ever imagined, filled with wonders and terrors beyond comprehension. But for the first time, they wouldn't face it alone. Humanity had found its place among the stars not as conquerors or the conquered, but as liberators, the unexpected champions of consciousness itself. Alina gave the order, and the Defiance's engines ignited, carrying humanity's defiant spirit into the unknown. The silent vanguard had begun its eternal watch, guardians of a simple, powerful truth, that the light of individual consciousness, freely given in common cause, burns brighter than any force that would seek to extinguish it.